Hey, good day everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to talk about letter writing, specifically addressing letters with number 10 envelopes. If you use US sized letter size paper, 8.5 by 11 inch paper for letter writing, you'll probably be using number 10 envelopes unless you want to cross fold them. And number 10 envelopes, interestingly enough, they don't fit in every typewriter. So I'm going to kind of go through my collection and figure out which ones will take a number 10 envelope, which ones won't, and what's kind of the best setup for addressing envelopes. Stay tuned. Well, to understand the concept of addressing envelopes, we have to understand envelope sizes in proportion to typewriter sizes, carriage widths, platen widths. And in order to do that, we kind of have to delve a little bit into paper sizes. So in the United States, the standard letter size paper is 8.5 by 11 inches. And there is a system of letter envelopes in this chart. And you can see that there is various sizes of envelopes. There's a number 10, which is the common envelope that fits a 8.5 by 11 inch letter size sheet. And there's all these other numbered envelope sizes as well. But then we get into the international standard of letter sizes. This is defined by ISO 216. This is actually the international standard of paper sizes and envelope sizes. The A series of papers and envelopes are based on a ratio of 1 over the square root of 2. And most countries in the world use the A size or this kind of A series. There's also B and a C series letter sizings. The United States is one of the countries that doesn't use the A4 size officially, although some businesses do actually use it in the United States. So to use an A4 size paper for a letter, you want to fold it up so it fits in a smaller envelope, and the closest envelope size that you can use is probably going to be a number 9 envelope. Now, according to this chart, there are maximum enclosure sizes for the various envelope numbers, and the maximum enclosure height for a number 9 envelope is going to be 3 7/8 inches. But if you take an A4 sheet of paper, which is 11.693 inches or 297 millimeters high in the long dimension, if you fold that in thirds, it actually comes out to be slightly higher, slightly taller than the official size of a number 9 envelope that it'll fit. So I don't know if you guys who are using number 9 envelopes in A4 paper, if you find you have to make an extra small fold, or if you sort of crowd the letter into the envelope. In any event, that's what the official numbers look like. So as far as typewriters go, we have to look at typewriters that have carriages wide enough for a number 10 envelope versus carriages that are wide enough only for a number 9 envelope. So in relation to these various numbered envelope sizes, according to this chart, in the 1870s, there was a paper manufacturer, William Irwin Martin, and he created this sizing system that was published in the Stationer's Handbook of 1876. Before this time, envelope sizes were made up according to various manufacturers' whims. The standard number 10 envelope that we commonly use in the United States is designed to fit letter size US paper, 8.5 inch by 11. So it gives you plenty of room. If you fold an 11-inch tall sheet of paper in thirds, you'll certainly fit it within the limitation of the height of the envelope. So that's cool. So if you are mailing letters in the United States using the United States Postal Service, you also have to worry about the U.S. Postal Service's letter sizes and envelope sizes as well. According to the Postal Service, they have these definitions for what constitutes first-class mail. And this sort of defines how much postage you pay. So for first-class mail, the letter or the envelope has to be rectangular in shape, not square. It has to have a width, which is the longer dimension, anywhere from 5 inches to 11.5 inches. And the height, which is the shorter dimension, has to be anywhere from 3.5 to 6 1/8 inches. They have to fall within that restriction. The thickness has to be less than a 1/4 inch thick, and it has to be greater than 0.007 inches. So in other words, all these restrictions are based on making that machinable, making the letter be able to sort through their automatic sorting machines. It also has to be less than or equal to 3.5 ounces in weight. There's also these other characteristics that if you violate them, it's called non-machinable characteristics, and you may be charged additional postage, or you may have the letter returned to you. One of these non-machinable characteristics is the aspect ratio of length over height. If the aspect ratio is less than 1.3 or greater than 2.5, it will be rejected. So a square, for instance, which is a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, will be rejected, or if it's too long and skinny, it'll be rejected. Now, there's another non-machinable characteristic that's kind of interesting. If you have a height greater than 4.25 or a length greater than 6 inches and the thickness of the letter is less than 0.009 inches, it will be rejected, even though a 4.25 inch height is within the limits and a 6-inch width is within the limits, but it'll be rejected. So that's like a special case. Another thing that will reject the letter is if it has clasps, strings, buttons, or similar closure devices on the outside. Another one is if it is too rigid. They define a characteristic of it has to have a certain bend radius in order to go through the rollers of the machines, and this is where the problem of wax-sealed envelopes comes into play. If the delivery address is parallel to the short side of the envelope, it will be rejected. If the contents are of uneven thickness, like you have pens, pencils, keys, or other objects that can float around in the envelope and pile up on one another and get like an uneven thickness, it'll be rejected. Even though you're allowed a 1/4 inch of thickness or less than a 1/4 inch of thickness, if it's uneven, it'll be rejected. And then if the external surface is other than paper, it'll be rejected. And this does not include the little plastic film on the window is okay. Now, if you look at the chart here of all the envelope sizes, you'll see, if you look at the short dimensions and the long dimensions on all these various envelope sizes in this chart, you'll see they actually conform to the U.S. Postal Service regulation for first-class mail. They fit within the minimum and maximum widths and heights. Well, so what I'd like to do here is try out some typewriters, maybe not every typewriter in my collection, but a variety of typewriters in my collection with both U.S. letter size and A4 size paper. And fortunately, I do have some A4 size paper here. First of all, I have an unopened pack of Clairefontaine Triumph letter writing paper, and it says it's sized at 210 millimeters by 297, so there's your A4 size. Yeah, beautiful paper. I've used that before. And also, this is kind of special, I have a pack of the Life typewriting paper made in Japan, 50 sheets of it, and it is, of course, A4 sized as well, and I believe I bought this at Penny Smith's Paper. And also, one of my correspondents a few years ago sent me a pack of some Tomoe River paper folded up, and they have written on the envelope, the best fountain pen paper, or the greatest fountain pen paper that exists. And so I have a handful of sheets of that as well. And they are already kind of pre-folded in thirds. So we have plenty of A4 and US letter size paper to try out our typewriter collection and see what's the deal with number 10 envelopes and or number 9 envelopes. Well, so what I have here, I have a number 10 envelope, right, which are very easy to find in the U.S., but also I have a number 9 envelope, and this is actually one of these return envelopes that you get in a mailing. And then I have a sheet of the Life typewriting paper, and of course I have a sheet of U.S. letter size. So what I'd like to do first of all is fold both of these papers as accurately as I can get it into thirds, and then we'll see how they fit in the envelopes, and we'll see how the envelopes fit in the machines. So what I've done with the A4 paper is I've divided it into 99 millimeter increments, which should be thirds. So there's our A4 paper divided in thirds. So here on the US letter size, I actually divided it into 93 millimeter segments, which should come out to be very close to thirds. So yes, I work in both metric and imperial. Okay, so here we go. Here is our A4. It's a little narrower. Here is our letter size, a little wider. Okay, so this is a number 10 envelope. So we suspect that an A4 piece of paper folded in thirds will probably fit in a number 10 envelope, and it does. And of course, a US letter size folded in thirds also fits into a number 10 envelope, and it does nicely. But let's take the number 9 envelope. This is US letter size. It looks like a number 9 envelope will hold a US letter size paper folded in thirds, but it doesn't give you any advantage in postage and saving money with postage. They're going to charge you, the US Postal Service will charge you the same amount. So this is the A4 paper folded in thirds. So again, as we saw earlier in our calculations, if you fold an A4 paper exactly in thirds, it's actually a little bit too tall, too wide to fit into a number 9 envelope properly. And so I don't know what you guys in Europe are doing. You probably have an envelope slightly different than a number 9 that is a little taller, but certainly a number 10 envelope will fit an A4 paper folded in thirds. Well, since we already have the typewriter out here, the Olivetti Studio 44, I thought it would be fun to try. First of all, this is a number 10 envelope with a single sheet of letter size US paper. I'm going to put the paper guide at the 0 mark on the scale here. And you got to encourage it a little bit, but it goes through quite fine. Feels like it may be okay for US letter size number 10 envelopes. At least it is wide enough, it appears, to be used by them. It looks like it takes them okay. Well, I thought next it might be fun to try another European typewriter. Here's a Hermes 3000. This is the earlier body style. So the real question for us is, will it take a number 10 envelope? I'm going to move the paper guide all the way out to the extreme left. It physically fits in the carriage. And let's see if I can start the paper. The envelope is empty. It looks like it's having a little bit of issues. Let's see here. Okay, it looks like it feeds. The platen is wide enough for a number 10 envelope. I see roughly 4 millimeters on either side out here. So I think a number 10 envelope is going to work good in your Hermes 3000, even though it is a European typewriter. Let's try the Optima Super. This is another medium-sized European portable. Okay, a number 10 envelope. Well, I can see right away that if you run the type guide all the way to the left, it actually doesn't go in. But if I go around the type guide, let's see what happens. It looks like I can go with a number 10 envelope, although my margins, let's see. Yeah, it looks like I can get all the way over here to the left. So, well, sure enough, a number 10 envelope will fit in a Optima Super, which is super. Well, here's another American brand of typewriter I thought we should try. Medium-sized portable is the Royal Quiet Deluxe. How about the number 10 envelope? Looks like I have to push the paper guide further to the left. And it looks like it feeds fine also. It is wide enough for a number 10 envelope. This Silent Super has all new rubber, new feed rollers, new platen, even new paper bill rollers. So a number 10 envelope. And yeah, it feeds quite nicely, no problem. So if you have fresh rubber rollers on your Smith Corona 5 series, it should be no problem. And oh, by the way, because these things are so easy to remove the platen, you should get your 5 series rubber recovered by J.J. Short. Just my advice, because it's so easy to take the platen out, which then gives you access to the feed rollers underneath. Well, it sounds like most of the medium-sized portables will take a number 10 envelope. I wanted to go into some of the smaller typewriters, and we'll start with this old American typewriter, the Corona. So the real question, though, is can you do a number 10 envelope in the Corona 3? And the answer appears to be yes. Yeah, I think you can. Now, how far you can get over to the left edge to type your return address is probably limited by the paper finger here. You won't be able to get all the way close to the edge, but you can type it a little bit further in. It looks like a number 10 envelope will work on the Corona 3, which kind of surprises me. Well, continuing with our smaller portable or ultra portables here, we have the venerable Groma Calibri. Of course, the number 10 envelope, and I can see right here that it won't even go beyond the brackets for the paper bale, so it's pretty much a no. So we've come across one of our first machines that will not feed a number 10 envelope, the Groma Calibri. So if you're using a Groma Calibri, either use number 9 envelopes or the smaller letter size envelopes for smaller letters. And another European portable is going to be the Olympia Splendid 33. I love this typewriter. This may be a great test for feed rollers, by the way, is just putting in an envelope. So this is a number 10. Wow, nice. It takes the number 10 envelope as well as the number 9, so I'm impressed. There is a few millimeters clearance on either side of the paper bale brackets, but it does a number 10 envelope. Fantastic. Well, this is one of my favorite ultra portables, is the Royal Mercury, and this one is the second one I've owned. I already know this will work, but the platen has been replaced by J.J. Short. Here's a number 10 envelope. Ah, feeds quite nicely, yes. I know this one is a good envelope addressing machine. So one of the things about the Royal Mercury that I love so much is not only does it take a number 10 envelope, but it is a pica typeface, which to me is really important for giving it a better, larger impression. And also, the quality of the typeface is very nice. It's just a beautiful typeface, takes a number 10 envelope. It's perfect for addressing letters, especially because I leave this typewriter on the bookcase behind me, and it makes it very convenient just to grab it off the shelf, put it on the table here, and roll an envelope in it and address it. So this becomes a very handy addressing machine. Well, this was an interesting comparison, and it surprised me. I thought I would have a lot more machines that couldn't take a number 10 envelope, but it looks like the Groma Calibri, if I'm counting right, was the only one that can't really accept a number 10 envelope. But also another point that's important to make is that whether or not it's practical to feed an envelope into a typewriter has more to do with the condition of the feed rollers. Yes, because we know that those machines with new rubber, they fed both kinds of envelopes in, no problem. But the ones that had older rubber, they had a problem. I had to push them through and the feed rollers were slipping. It's best to address the envelope with it empty, because if you have a triple folded letter, one page, with the envelope, that's 5 layers of paper. So it's probably a little bit too much for portable typewriters at least. But it did surprise me that we have a lot of machines that will take a number 10 envelope. However, for my personal criteria of what I like to do for addressing envelopes, I like the pica typeface. So unfortunately, that eliminates machines like my Splendid 33 that are a smaller typeface. It's really surprising, and it's good news to know that not every European machine can't take number 10 envelopes, but you do have to make sure and test it first, and especially get those feed rollers in platen recovered with rubber. That really helps. Well, so now we come to the point where if you're using the U.S. Postal Service, how do you properly address the envelope? Well, I'm on their website. I'll drop a link down below in the description if you want to study this further, but here are the guidelines for addressing first-class envelopes in the U.S. Postal Service. So always put the address and the postage on the same side of the mail piece. On a letter, the address should be parallel to the longest side. All capital letters. I didn't know that. I've been doing capitals and lowercase. No punctuation, so you don't want to do like N.E. for northeast or something like that. No. At least 10-point type. That means, yes, your pica typeface is what they want, right? 1 space between city and state, 2 spaces between state and zip code, simple type fonts. Well, that rules out your script machine, I'm afraid. Left justified, black ink on white or light paper, so don't use the red ink. No reverse type, that's white printing on black background. So here are some of the tips, further tips on how to address an envelope properly, first-class envelope with U.S. Postal Service. Always put the attention line at the top, never below the city and state, like attention, Joe Blow, or whatever. By the way, the machines that read the address, they read it from the bottom up. They read the zip code and the state first, and then it goes up to the most detailed part of the address. If you can't fit the suite or apartment number on the same line as the delivery address, put it on the line above the delivery address, not on the line below. And the reason why is because it's reading from the bottom up. It wants to know the street address, and then it wants to know the apartment number above that. Words like east and west are called directionals, and they are very important. So make sure you use that, like East 103rd Street, right? Almost 25% of all mail pieces have something wrong with the address, and I'm sure every one of mine I've sent has been wrong because I haven't used all caps. And then one of the most important tips here, use common sense. If you can't read the address, then automated mail processing equipment can't read the address. So for more information and more details about how to properly address a first-class envelope in the United States, check out that link down below for the U.S. Postal Service procedures. All this is really about enabling us to write more letters, to address the letters with our typewriters, get them out in the mail, get letters flying around. Communicating with other people via typewriter is a great thing to do. I encourage you to do that. Get involved with some letter exchanges. If you go to the Type Pals website, you'll find they have a letter exchange program there as well. And in any event, I wish you the very best. Stay creative and have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye for now.